There's something they never told you about your mind. Not in school, not in therapy, not in any book you were allowed to read. A hidden flaw, or maybe a hidden design. You think you're tired, that you're burned out, distracted, overwhelmed. What if I told you that none of it is real? That fatigue is not a wall, but a trick. That your environment isn't neutral. It's a trap. That what you call focus is just the training wheels of a much darker state of mind you were never meant to access. This isn't motivation. It's a door into the parts of your brain that have been dormant for years. And a warning, once you walk through it, you won't come back the same. You'll start seeing patterns others don't. You'll work when others collapse. You'll think in ways that make you dangerous. And the ones who used to seem smarter, faster, more gifted, they'll start looking slow. Because this isn't about doing more. It's about becoming someone else entirely. Part 1. Understand the myth of cognitive fatigue. You've been living under a lie so deeply embedded into your mind, you mistake it for truth. You were taught that fatigue is your mind's natural limit, that the moment you start to feel tired, lose focus, or crave distraction, it means you're depleted. This is false. It is one of the most dangerous psychological traps ever installed into the human brain. And until you dismantle it, you will never access your true intelligence. You will always remain a pawn to your own biology. Listen carefully. Mental fatigue is not a lack of fuel. It's an illusion, a defensive hallucination created by your own brain to conserve energy, not to protect your potential, but to limit it. Your brain evolved for survival, not for dominance. Its priority is not to make you a genius. It's to keep you alive with the least effort possible. The moment a task feels uncomfortable, the brain triggers defensive mechanisms: drowsiness, restlessness, craving for dopamine, social media, sugar, mindless entertainment, self-sabotaging thoughts like, maybe I'm not smart enough. These are not signs of true exhaustion. They are signals from an outdated operating system that fears sustained effort. Why? Because historically, burning too much energy could mean death. In the ancient world, wasting energy unnecessarily could leave you vulnerable, hungry, exposed, easy prey. But today, you are not fighting saber-toothed predators. You are fighting for influence, mastery, and psychological power, and that same defensive wiring is killing your evolution. The real nature of cognitive fatigue. Science has already exposed the truth. Studies on cognitive fatigue reveal something astonishing. When people report feeling mentally exhausted, their brains still have abundant reserves of focus, memory, and cognitive power. The fatigue is psychological, not physiological. It's an emotion, not a real physical limit. Think about it. How often have you felt too tired to work, but suddenly became alert when something exciting, pleasurable, or urgent appeared? Your brain didn't magically refill itself. It was never truly empty. It simply overrode the fatigue illusion because it decided the new stimulus was worth the energy cost. Fatigue is not a wall. It's a negotiation. And those who master their mind, they stop negotiating. They dominate. Why geniuses are not who you think they are. When you think of geniuses, you imagine effortless brilliance. What you don't see is that true long-term genius, the kind that reshapes industries, rewrites history, transforms humanity, is rarely a product of smarter biology. It's the product of individuals who broke through fatigue, who learned to push when others surrendered, who recognized that their first feelings of tiredness were not signals to stop, but thresholds to cross. Beyond fatigue lies real power. Ordinary people turn back at the first signs of discomfort. They say, I deserve a break. I'll do better tomorrow. I'm just burned out. And they call that self-care. But the mind that will outlast them, the mind that becomes legendary, sees fatigue as the first checkpoint. When others run from it, you lean into it. The hidden second wind. Dark energy activation. There is a second mind waiting beneath your normal consciousness. It does not emerge easily. It is buried under layers of comfort-seeking, energy-saving instincts. But once you resist the fake fatigue, once you refuse the easy exit, a shift happens. A chemical storm inside your brain. Neural adrenaline. Dopamine redirection. The mind begins feeding itself energy, sharpening itself under pressure. What once felt impossible becomes automatic. You enter a darker, more dangerous mode of cognition. Hyperfocus, ruthless analysis, relentless problem-solving. You stop forcing your mind to work. It works through you. And this transformation terrifies those who have never touched it because it reveals just how much potential they've abandoned. The law of mental inversion. Here's the forbidden law. The real mind is born after fatigue. Every real breakthrough mental, physical, creative, strategic, happens after the point where weaker minds quit. That moment where everything inside you screams to stop. That's the threshold where the real battle begins. Push past it, and you begin to operate from reserves most humans never tap. And once you access it, you see everyone else differently. Their complaints, their excuses, their self-limiting beliefs, they reveal themselves as chains they willingly accept. But you become unchained. And once you've broken free once, you will never go back. Your mind is not a fragile glass machine. It is a nuclear engine chained by fear. And fatigue? Fatigue is not your limit. It's your leash. Every time you obey it, you tighten it. Every time you resist it, you loosen it, until one day the leash snaps entirely. And when that happens, you will no longer live inside the cages built for ordinary minds. You will operate in a realm they can't even comprehend. The mind that overcomes fatigue overcomes the world. You have 90 days to destroy the mind they trained you to protect. You were born into a world designed to make you soft, to obey fatigue, to surrender under pressure. Most never escape, but inside whispers cognitive overclock, you will. This is the forbidden system for building a ruthless, overclocked mind in 90 days, through cold focus rituals, dopamine warfare, and neural endurance protocols. It's not self-help, it's psychological war, and it will change you forever. And if you crave dark psychology, ruthless intelligence, and mental mastery, download the Whispers Power Bundle. Every ebook, every audiobook, one bundle, one war. I'll put the links in the comment and description. Don't forget to check them. Part 2. Build a frictionless environment. Once you understand that your brain's fatigue is a psychological trap, not a true limit, you face the next enemy: friction. Because even if you override your mind's fake exhaustion, if your environment is chaotic, polluted, cluttered, you will still lose. Not because you're weak, but because you're fighting a silent war against 1,000 invisible enemies every minute. The invisible war for your focus. Every notification you allow, every noise you tolerate, every open tab you don't close. They are not small distractions. They are cognitive parasites, tiny losses of energy, microfractures in your mental armor, and alone they seem harmless. But compound them across an hour, a day, a week, and they become catastrophic. Every harmless distraction costs you 3 things: time to react, time to refocus, mental stamina you can't reclaim. You might lose only 30 seconds reading a message, but regaining the deep focus you had before the interruption, that costs 20 to 30 minutes of full cognitive power. Most people live in constant interruption. They call it being connected. I call it being enslaved. The dark law of mental thermodynamics. In the physical world, energy is lost to friction. A machine that should move at full speed loses power because of heat, drag, resistance. Your mind is no different. Every ounce of resistance in your environment, every open app, random noise, messy desk, buzzing notification, steals mental energy. Not consciously, not dramatically, quietly, invisibly, fatally. The law is simple. The more friction you allow, the weaker you become. The cleaner your environment, the more superhuman you become. If you are serious about overclocking your mind, you must wage absolute war on friction, how to build a cognitive fortress. Your environment should not just be clean. It should be designed as a weapon. Every element around you should either accelerate your mind or get eliminated. Here's how the elite build cognitive fortresses. Purge all open loops, every unfinished task, every item left out, every mental should do. They leak attention even when ignored. Ruthlessly close them or remove them. Kill all passive inputs. No social media feeds visible, no notifications active, no emails open in the background. Set up high-cost barriers to distraction. Make it inconvenient to escape focus. Log out of apps. Move the phone across the room. Block websites. Friction for distraction, freedom for focus. Anchor your environment to your mission. Place symbols of your goals everywhere, quotes, objects, music, anything that primes your mind for battle, not relaxation. Create a ritual for entering the zone. One consistent action that tells your brain, now we work. Light a candle, play a specific track. The body triggers the mind. The psychological shift. Become a predator of focus. Most people treat their attention like it's a free buffet. Anyone, anything, any random thought can grab a piece. You will be different. You will treat your attention like a predator treats its energy, with cold, merciless calculation. You will not allow random conversations to steal your focus. You will not tolerate background noise to weaken your mental clarity. You will not indulge every flicker of boredom by chasing novelty. Focus is not something you hope for. It's something you defend with blood and fire. You are either the master of your environment or its prisoner. The dark secret of high achievers. If you study the highest achievers across history, you find a pattern. Nikola Tesla worked alone in sterile labs. Isaac Newton obsessed over removing disturbances. Bruce Lee designed his entire day around eliminating unnecessary motion. Napoleon carried an environment of strategic silence even in the chaos of war. They were not lucky to be focused. They engineered their worlds to demand it. And because their minds encountered no friction, their cognitive overdrive lasted longer. Their breakthroughs came faster. Their domination became inevitable. You are not inferior if you struggle to focus. You are simply surrounded by an environment designed to destroy it. And the second you change your environment, you will feel your mind begin to sharpen automatically, as if a heavier, more ruthless version of yourself was just waiting for the noise to clear. Understand this: your brain is a machine capable of impossible endurance, but only if you cut away the 1,000 tiny knives slicing it apart every second. Your battle is not just against laziness. Your battle is against an entire ecosystem of invisible friction. Every piece of friction you eliminate, every distraction you kill, every barrier you build, sharpens your mind into a weapon few will ever match. Most people will never experience the real power of their mind because they are too busy drowning in noise. You will not be one of them. Part 3. Trigger neural flow on command. You've now dismantled the illusion of mental fatigue. You've built an environment where distractions can't survive. But that's not enough, because even with full energy and no friction, you still face the real final boss, getting your mind into the zone at will. Most people stumble into deep focus by accident. A lucky day, a surge of inspiration, but you will learn to trigger it on command, like a soldier flipping the safety off a weapon. Without hesitation, without delay, understanding neural flow. Neural flow is not just good focus. It's a neurological state where time perception collapses, self-consciousness dissolves, cognitive performance accelerates by 500 to 700%. Flow is your brain's most advanced weapon. In flow, your mind weaves ideas faster than you can think. Reflexes sharpen. Memory locks in. Creativity explodes. You stop trying to perform. You become performance itself. It is not a myth. It is not a rare talent. It is a state triggered by precise psychological conditions. And once you know how to engineer those conditions, flow becomes a lever you can pull at will. The 3 barriers to flow and how to annihilate them. There are 3 primary enemies that prevent you from entering flow. Cognitive friction, multiple tasks, conflicting priorities. You cannot slip into flow if your mind is juggling chaos. Solution: ruthlessly choose one mission at a time, full cognitive commitment. Low entry cost. Trying to ease into focus actually prevents it. The brain needs an aggressive activation cost, a jolt to cross the threshold. Solution: begin with a mentally brutal task immediately. Force ignition. Exit points. If escape routes exist, phone nearby, tabs open, notifications, the brain won't invest deeply. Solution: erase every possible exit. Make flow the only path forward. Flow demands a sacrifice at the gate: your comfort, your distractions, your hesitation, the dark ritual of forced entry. Here's how you override your own resistance and force yourself into neural flow. Step 1. Pre-commit the mission. Before you begin, decide exactly what task will dominate your focus. No improvisation, no changing objectives mid-session. Step 2. Set a brutal initiation challenge. Choose the hardest possible starting point. No warm-up activities, no light preparation. Attack the biggest, most mentally violent problem first. Step 3. Block escape with physical barriers. Phone in another room. Internet blockers engaged. Single window open. No just checking allowed. Step 4. Trigger the priming ritual. Create a sensory anchor that signals flow activation. A specific song, a candle lit, a timer ticking. Your nervous system begins to associate this trigger with deep work automatically. Step 5. Sprint past the pain barrier. The first 20 to 30 minutes will feel slow, scattered, weak. This is the brain's old defense mechanism firing. Ignore it. Push through without judgment. At minute 30 to 40, the brain recalibrates and the doors to flow swing open. The flow multiplier effect. Once you're inside flow, your productivity doesn't increase linearly. It multiplies. What would normally take 5 hours happens in 45 minutes. What would usually seem overwhelming becomes automatic. Because the brain, once fully engaged, stops resisting. It stops budgeting energy carefully. It begins dumping full cognitive resources into the mission. You tap into power reserves designed only for life or death situations, and the world around you, the noise, the doubts, the fears, the fatigue, becomes irrelevant background static. You don't cope with them. You leave them behind. Why most people never experience true flow? Most people will die having never entered real flow even once. They flirt with it. They get glimpses of it. But they sabotage themselves because they fear the intensity required. Flow demands total commitment. No partial effort, no shallow work, no multitasking safety nets. It's an all-or-nothing gamble. Burn through the resistance, or remain mediocre forever. Most choose the easier path, the safer path, the comfort of never truly going all in. But the few who choose differently, they live and work at a level others can't comprehend, because they operate outside the boundaries normal minds cling to. Neural flow is not magic. It is not random. It is engineered. You do not wait for it to happen. You build the conditions, force the ignition, and lock yourself inside it until the world bends around your work. Your enemies will never understand how you operate. They will see the output, the results, the dominance, and mistake it for genius. But you will know the truth. You didn't find flow, you forged it. Part 4. Master the Art of Controlled Burnout. You've unlocked the truth behind mental fatigue. You've built an environment designed for cognitive warfare. You've learned how to ignite neural flow on command. But understand this, even the strongest mind can burn itself out. Even a nuclear reactor, if pushed beyond its design, will melt down. Overclocking is not infinite. If you operate at maximum cognitive thrust without strategy, you will collapse. You will not bend the world to your will. You will be broken by your own ambition. The fatal mistake of overachievers. Most people never touch flow. But those who do, those who taste the power of overclocked cognition, face a new danger. They become addicted to it. They try to live in it 24/7. They think they are invincible. And they ignore the subtle warning signs. Sleep erodes. Emotions destabilize. Creativity crashes. Discipline turns into exhaustion. They don't see it happening until it's too late. Their mind, once a fortress, starts to rot from the inside. The burnout curve. Understand this law. High-output cognitive states consume hidden reserves. Every session of intense flow. Every day of ruthless productivity. Every week of overclocked output. Costs you invisible energy you don't immediately feel. You can operate at peak intensity for a time. But underneath the surface, a slow deficit builds. If you do not strategically control it, it will ambush you. One day you'll wake up and realize your mind feels sluggish. Your motivation evaporates. Your sharpness is replaced by numbness. This isn't weakness. This is burnout's trap closing in. The Art of Controlled Burnout. You cannot avoid burnout if you live at the edge of human cognitive performance. But you can control it. You can treat it not as a failure, but as part of your operating cycle. Here's how the Dark Masters operate. Cycle 1. Strategic overclocking. 4 to 6 weeks of extreme cognitive push. Structured days. Ruthless focus. No mercy for distractions. Cycle 2. Calculated deceleration. 1 to 2 weeks of deliberate slowdown, not collapse, not laziness. Active mental recovery, reflection, slow creation, low-intensity study. Cycle 3. Reinforced return. After the controlled burnout, return to high-intensity work. Stronger, sharper, and even more resistant to mental fatigue. This is not rest as reward. It is rest as a weapon. What happens if you refuse recovery? If you refuse to decelerate? If you think you can bypass the limits of your own biology, you will pay the price. The symptoms of unmanaged burnout are ruthless, chronic brain fog, deep emotional volatility, diminished resilience to stress, cynicism replacing clarity, apathy poisoning your ambition, and worst of all, loss of identity. You will forget why you started. You will lose the fire that once made you invincible, not because you weren't strong enough, but because you didn't know when to sharpen the blade, instead of swinging it blindly. The rituals of dark recovery. During strategic deceleration, you don't do nothing. You reconstruct the mind. Here's how the elite rebuild after controlled burnout. Silent reflection sessions. 30 minutes a day of thought without input. No books, no podcasts, no conversations, just you and your mind. Recalibrating priorities, reforging internal drive, deliberate dopamine reset. Remove quick dopamine hits, social media, junk food, low-quality entertainment. Train your brain to find pleasure in thought, learning, solitude. Long-form study mode. Read deeply. Study complex material slowly, not for speed, but to recondition the mind for deep, calm absorption. Physical flow activation. Engage the body lightly. Walking, light lifting, mobility drills. Reignite the mind-body connection without taxing the nervous system. Minimalist creation. Work on low-pressure creative outputs, sketch ideas. Build frameworks. Write exploratory drafts. Keep the mind moving without the pressure of perfection. The legend cycle, the cycle of high performers who endure for decades, not just years, is built on this pattern. Surge. Decelerate. Surge harder. Decelerate smarter. Surge ruthlessly. They don't go hard until they collapse. They build momentum like a storm. Controlled violence, strategic silence. Controlled violence again. Every cycle sharpens them. Every burnout, properly managed, becomes an upgrade. And while others around them flicker and fade, they grow darker. They grow deeper. They become inevitable. You are not here to live at 70% forever. You are here to learn the dark art of burning fiercely, then rising stronger from your own ashes. Most people work hard until they break. You will work smart until you become unstoppable. The mind that learns to master its own burnout becomes a mind that cannot be destroyed. You are no longer normal. If you've made it this far, you're no longer the person who started this journey. You are no longer normal. Understand what that means. Normal minds obey fatigue. Normal minds live inside cluttered chaos. Normal minds drift in and out of shallow work, waiting for motivation to save them. But you now know the forbidden truths. That exhaustion is a liar. That your environment either sharpens you or kills you. That neural flow can be commanded, not begged for. That controlled burnout is not weakness. It's strategy. You are no longer trapped inside the rules you were taught to obey. You are building a new operating system. Ruthless, silent, relentless. But understand this knowledge alone changes nothing. The world will not bow because you know the theory. It will test you. The moment you leave this, distraction will attack you. Weakness will whisper back. Comfort will invite you to settle. And most people, they will fold. They will pretend they didn't hear the call inside their own bones. But a rare few, the ones who were built for more, they will answer. They will sharpen. They will sacrifice. They will evolve. And when the rest are wondering why their dreams died quietly, you will be moving silently toward domination. The choice is now. You have two paths. You let today be just another moment of inspiration, soon forgotten, soon buried under the noise. Or you make today the day you turned ruthless about your evolution. The day you stopped negotiating with your mind. The day you stopped waiting for permission. The day you entered a war that no one could see, but everyone will feel when you win it. This was never just about working harder. It was about waking up to the reality that your mind is a weapon you've been tricked into underusing. But now, you know where the door is. And once you've seen it, you can never unsee it. Your mind is capable of more than survival. It's capable of supremacy. Forge it, bleed for it, burn brighter than every fading genius around you. And when they ask how you did it, smile and say nothing.